Cape May County has a new Freeholder director, Gerald Thornton. We'll talk with him about the direction of county government in 2012 and take a look at the proposed county budget with County Treasurer Ed Grant next on the Cape May County Report. Welcome to the Cape May County Report. I'm Lenora Bonafonte, Cape May County Communications Director, and joining me now is Freeholder Director Gerald Thornton. First of all, congratulations, Freeholder Thornton.
Thank you, Lenora.
You were elected by your fellow freeholders to lead the board in 2012 at the reorganization meeting of the Board of Chosen Freeholders on January 5th. It's the first time in many years that there's been substantial changes in Cape May County government. You're the director. We have a new vice director, Freeholder Susan Shepard. Freeholder Leonard Desiderio continues as freeholder, and we have two new freeholders, Will Morey and Christine DeBoer. Talk to us about this new freeholder board and what it means for Cape May County.
Well, I think it's new and it's exciting because we've got new freeholders coming on board, and I'm really excited about being director and those new freeholders. Actually, we have three new freeholders because we have Christine DeBoer, we have Will Morey, and we also have Sue Shepard, who got elected just a year ago. So it's an exciting time, and what they do, they bring a new perspective to the board. And in the last few weeks here, we found that out because they have new ideas, they have new incentives, they have a different direction that they want county government to go, and their interest and their work ethic is there, and it's really exciting. It's exciting to see this first initial steps and just how we're going here with the Board of Freeholders. I'm really excited about it.
Because there's new freeholders, they're exploring county government for the first time, and also with departments changing, it's really given a whole new fresh era to Cape May County government. And
not only that, but it's a new learning period for all of us, including myself. Although I served many years on the Board of Freeholders, having new departments and new areas that I'm responsible for, it's an entire new learning process, and it is for the freeholders, the new freeholders also. Even Freeholder Desiderio, who's been there a long time, because he has new departments now. He has public safety. So we're all going through a new process, and we're learning the inside of all these departments. We all have a general working knowledge of what goes on throughout the county and in other departments, but unless you actually are assigned those departments and oversee those departments, you don't know all the details and the day-to-day operation of that department. So it's a very interesting time, and what's really interesting about it is the new ideas that are beginning to surface about how to do things more efficiently, how to do things better, how to look at staffing levels and things like this, and consolidate some services. I think it's a very, very, very exciting, important time.
New discussions, fresh discussions.
Oh, it is, and over again, there's just new ideas that come forth.
Now, as you said, you've served on the Freeholder Board and served the county residents of Cape May County for a long time. I mean, you were a freeholder from 1976 to 1987, and then returned to the board in 1995 after a break, and have served continuously since then, but now as director of the board. But for most of your career as a freeholder, you served as the Freeholder Director of Human Services, Health and Human Services. Yeah. And now as director, you're taking over the Director of Administration, Finances, and Emergency Management. Do you do that with some mixed emotions? Because we've always used to tease and say you were the freeholder with the heart. You had all the human services and all of the programs that had to be served for the residents.
I will tell you very honestly, I have mixed emotions about giving up Health and Human Services. I spent so many years in that area, so that it was wonderful. They were wonderful departments. I had really great department heads. I had great employees in those departments. They were all very kind and very caring, and those departments are all people departments, so they take care of the citizens in the county, particularly those who are ill or at risk, who need care. And so I'm going to miss those departments, because I had great department heads and I had great employees.
Well, we take a look at some of those departments. you mentioned, we have a large senior citizen population in Cape May County. You oversaw the Department of Aging. What are some of the accomplishments that you're most proud of in some of the departments that you oversaw those years?
In those departments, particularly in aging, even during my previous tenure on the Board of Freeholders, every senior center and every nutrition site that's been developed in the County of Cape May has been during my time. And so I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of the Meals on Wheels programs. I'm proud of the care we provide to the elderly and those that are at risk. I'm proud of the socialization programs we have. We just built a new senior center in Ocean City that's just absolutely beautiful. And that quality of life and that socialization is very, very important to keep seniors active. Over and over again, everything we do is to make sure that those seniors are active and their quality of life is good. Just as an example, if we can have those programs where they are active and they have nutrition and things like that, it keeps them from going into long-term care or assisted living. Long-term care today, so the citizens know, long-term care today goes around $7,000 or more a month for one resident in long-term care. For a few dollars a month, if we can keep those programs, nutrition, socialization, I can tell you we save throughout the nation hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, and you touched on, you mentioned nursing homes. You also were director of the Crest Haven Nursing Home and saw it expand to the Crest Haven Nursing Home and Rehabilitation Center. So you've had some accomplishments there as well. Yeah,
the nursing home, during my previous tenure on the Board of Freeholders, that was my project, building a new nursing home, and that's the nursing home we have now. Of course, it's, what, 20+ years old now. But yeah, I mean, we have a 180-bed nursing home where I think as of today we're running about 208 staff over there. And it's very, very important that we have that quality of care that's necessary there. And we try over and over again to make sure that those residents know that it's their home. That where they are, it is their home. It's not like you're a patient in a hospital. It's your home. That's where you actually live, and that's very, very important to have that quality of care and that sensitivity. And the staff over there, the staff on the floor. People should just see those certified nursing assistants and the nurses and everybody else about how much they care for those residents in the nursing home. It gets to the point where you say they treat them just like they're their own family.
And because you do become a family.
And you do.
Now, even though you've changed most of your departments, you kept the Veterans Bureau under your lead. Why did you decide to keep the Veterans Bureau?
Well, number one, I'm a veteran. I'm the only veteran that now serves on the board. And the veterans are very, very, very dear to my heart. And, you know, it's a day where Cape May County now, we had approximately 14,000 veterans in Cape May County, plus their family members. And, of course, with the war in Iran and also the war in Afghanistan, or excuse me, Iraq and the war in Afghanistan, now we have a lot of new veterans coming on. Just last year, last week, I was there at the homecoming for the 253rd when they came back from Afghanistan. So that's, you know, we have an obligation to those veterans. As I said over and over again, those young men and women that serve, that we as a nation send in harm's way, they're the very foundation of our democracy. They are the very foundation of our nation here. Not only that, but they take our ideals to other nations, and they fight for those ideals, and they protect those citizens of other nations that are under totalitarian type governments. So I'm just very, very proud of all our veterans. I am. They are just a very patriotic, loyal, sincere individuals, and you know they suffer, but so do their families. Their families also sacrifice a great deal when they're gone. And that one little girl, her mother was marching down the road coming back, and a little girl was about 7 years old, and she's yelling, "There's mommy, there's mommy." I will tell you what, that brings tears to your eyes.
Now, so you're keeping the Veterans Bureau, you've added administration, revenue and finance, emergency management, so you'll be taking on new departments. What challenges do you look forward to tackling in this coming year?
Well, the one challenge that all governments have, it's not just Cape May County, but all governments, state, local, and municipal governments. Today, as far as the fiscal reliability of the tax base and the number of citizens that you're trying to serve and you're trying to protect, those budgets are very, very difficult. So the real challenge here is trying to make sure that we try to maintain a level of service so that we provide those things that are necessary: health, public safety, welfare, in order to protect the citizens and the residents of Cape May County. Those things are necessary, and there are things that we have to work on. We have to make government more efficient. We have to do some consolidations of programs and departments to make it more efficient, and at the same time make sure that we have the necessary staff to provide that service.
So do you see substantial changes in county government?
I think the future for county government is probably going to change significantly. Being a regionalized form of government, you see all this with shared services, and you see all the municipalities trying to get together and interlocal agreements, and even agreements with other counties, particularly us. We have a lot of agreements with Lenny County, Cumberland County. So you're going to see that regional form of government is going to be over the years is going to become more in demand and more responsible for a lot of those services out there, out of necessity, because it's cost effective.
What would you like to focus on as a top priority?
Well, I think the top priority, and this is one of the first times we've ever put money in our budget for economic development, and that's really important. We have a county here that's running wintertime unemployment about 14%. And again, I'll get back to the point that we have a lot of veterans returning. We have a lot of those people coming back. They need jobs. They're young families, and what we're seeing in Cape May County is that we're losing young families because the employment isn't there. We have a great deal of summertime employment, 3 or 4 months or 5 months, but it's the wintertime when they really suffer. Our population is down about 6,000 people in the last 10 years, in the last census. So when you look at that, it's because there are young families moving out. Our school system, we're down 1,400 children in the school system. So, you know, that's indicative of just what is happening here. We have to provide a more viable economy, and so those young families and those veterans and their families can have a quality of life. That's important.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the proposed county budget for 2012 as our county treasurer, Ed Grant, joins us. Stay with us.
From Ocean City to Cape May, there's more to do at the Jersey Cape than you can imagine. And right now, you can take a tour of the Jersey Cape. Go to Comcast On Demand, Searchlight, Travel and Leisure, the Jersey Cape. Your vacation begins today. The Jersey Cape. Escape the everyday. From Ocean City to Cape May, there's more to do at the Jersey Cape than you can imagine. And right now, you can take a tour of the Jersey Cape. Go to Comcast On Demand, Searchlight, Travel and Leisure, the Jersey Cape. Your vacation begins today. The Jersey Cape. Play here.
Welcome back to the Cape May County Report. I'm Lenora Bonafonte, Cape May County Communications Director, along with Freeholder Director Gerald Thornton, and joining us now is County Treasurer Ed Grant. Thank you for joining us, Ed.
Oh, thank you.
Director, you oversee finance and revenue, as we discussed in the first half. Now, as Freeholder Director, the county has introduced its 2012 budget. It is scheduled for a public hearing and adoption on February the 28th.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, when you looked at the budget, are you happy with the 2012 proposed budget?
I'm very happy. We had our work session just last week, and we went over the budget. Ed went over the entire budget with all the members of the Board of Freeholders, and the comments from the board were excellent. I mean, it was an excellent budget. It was well done. Ed and his staff and the department heads absolutely did an outstanding job. I'm very, very happy with where the budget is this year. I'm very happy with it. It was a job well done.
Now, after 13 years of straight years without a tax rate increase, the past 3 years there was a slight increase in the tax rate. Will there be a rate increase again this year, and what do you estimate it will be?
Yes, again, because the what's going on in the economy now with the ratables going down, it's almost every municipality and county will be facing that. Even if you matched last year's budget with no increases, your rate's still going to go up pretty much because of the decrease in ratables. So the item that you really want to pay attention to is the amount to be raised by taxation. I mean, that's the bottom line. The rate's going to go up and down. That's going to be strictly a result of the ratables, okay? But the amount to be raised by taxation, that's really what comes down to spending. That's dollars. That's what's going to be distributed. That's what you're going to ask the municipalities to pitch in to support.
Now, the past 3 years, there was a decline in ratables. Do you see that continuing?
Yes. This year, again, it's declined about 4.24%, close to $2 billion. We've lost probably $6 to $7 billion over the last 3 or 4 years. We're dealing with a rateable loss unprecedented with anything we've ever seen in the county. We monitor this stuff historically all the way back as far as we can see, and we haven't seen anything like this because, again, over the in the last 10 years, we had such a roller coaster. It went way up, where we were having 20, 24, 28% increases in the rateable, and then it peaked and then started, and it still was going up, but the increases weren't that big. Now we've had 3 straight years of negative rateable basis, and again, we feel it at the county level, the municipalities feel it, and everyone feels it. But again, it's just one of those things that you got to go through, and it seems as though we're starting to hit the bottom.
Now, you said the important thing is what the taxpayers face. Can you explain for us the difference between tax rate and a tax levy? Because you hear it discussed so many different ways, and it's confusing for the public.
The tax rate is actually where you just take the ratables and you divide it by the total budget, and it comes up with a rate. Now, it's an equalized rate on the county. It's very different than what they do at the municipality. That's now, the tax levy is the dollar amount. That's the actual bottom line amount of money that the county asks the municipalities to support each and every year with their, through their budget process.
So as a taxpayer, is that the number you're concerned about?
Yes, because again, the one that really homes in on spending is the amount to be raised by taxation. The tax rate can be it can be skewed because again, if ratables are going down, it looks like the rate's going up, but actually you could hold spending and the rate could still look adverse. Versus the opposite, which was the years when all the ratables were going up and the rate was going down. Again, so again, it's one of those things where it's really not a clear picture, but when you want to look at what the bottom line is, you look at the levy.
So when you look at the tax levy, do you see an increase in that? What is going to be needed to be raised by property tax?
The board, over the last 4 or 5 years, we've been very prudent. We've done a year-round job at working on the budget, and each and every year we've only had a slight increase. That's going to continue this year, very slight, probably close to 1% or less, probably under 1%. Pretty consistent what we've done over the last 2 or 3 years. Again, we're putting a lot of things in play. We have a lot of things going in that I'm sure we're going to talk about that are helping us to be constructive in the way that we manage the financial affairs of the county.
So even with the increase, and then the tax rate will be around a penny or under a penny?
It's probably going to end up about a 1 cent increase, or just under 1 cent. But the thing you have to understand is that 7.5% of that, of the 10, of the 1 cent, 7.5 of it is going to be just because of the drop in ratables. The spending's only attributed to 0.15 of a cent. So again, it's, you know, if you look at the rate, you kind of like, whoa, but if you look at the spending, then you realize that the county has done a real good job at doing what they needed to do to put forth a very manageable and a very good plan, fiscal plan for the taxpayers.
And when you look at the tax rate, even though there'll be a slight increase, do you still anticipate it being the lowest in the state?
Oh, it's definitely the lowest in the state. It's been that way for a long, long time.
So let's get a little specific talking about the 2012 proposed budget. Other than property taxes, and what other major sources of revenue are you using to fund the budget?
There's, you know, of course, property tax usually makes up about 60 to 65% traditionally of the total budget. And then we have other revenues. Grants play a big part of those. The Crest Haven Nursing Home is one of our big ones there. Some of the things we used to depend on are no longer there, like interest on investments. It just doesn't exist anymore with the banks. You know, so, and then the rest
and most people don't understand that. I mean, if you give a number.
Realty transfer fees, too. We lost a great deal in realty transfer fees.
Yeah.
From the county clerk's fees you would
office.
see for years, that now they've been going down.
Yeah, we peaked at about 8 or 9, I think actually about 10 million a year.
Right.
And we're down to about 4 million a year in that area. But again, the good sign is that this year it actually went up by 2%. It's the first time in 3 years where the real estate has actually not gone down in value. It's actually started to just, so we're again, so there's a lot of good signs this year. This is the first budget we've had in the last 3 years where there's actually some positives, some things out there that we're seeing where there's, you know, again, where things are, we're always going down and down and down, like the interest on investments and you know, the pension cost and these things. So again, there's some really positive signs, slight positive signs this year for the first time in a number of years.
So you feel you may see some positive revenue turnaround in 2012?
Yes, we feel very strongly that we are.
Now, when you take a look at the cost increases, what are the most significant increases in the budget in terms of cost?
Health benefits is number one, and then there's really no number two. Everything else is number two. Over the years, the county has made some, and especially in the last 2 years, has made some great strides in controlling its health benefits and looking into a wellness program, working with providers, renegotiating contracts and everything else. But out of a $70 million OE, 28 million of it is for health benefits. So the reason we say is that that's the number one goal and the number one thing that we want to look at this year, because if you save 1% on 28 million, the rest of the, you know, that's, there's really nothing that can have that type of impact. And we've really put together a program that we're in midstream where we expect the best benefits to come through in this year. And we're hoping, and you know, we're very positive that we've already had some excellent results, and that they continue, and that puts us in a very good position going into next year.
I want to follow up on that and commend Ed Grant on the health benefits, because he delved into that and worked very hard and spent literally hours and hours and hours with him and his staff, but specifically him. And he has probably saved the county, I don't know, about $3 million overall by just the work that he did looking into our health benefits. Outstanding job, outstanding, and he did that on his own initiative. That's really very commendable. Well done job.
And it's a continual process. Like each year, you're faced with those increases, and you look at it and you say, early on, we need to find $5 million to save, or we need to, and you start early on. And Cape May County took a lot of steps to cut costs and control costs and look to the future. What are some of the steps that you continue to take in 2012 to control costs?
Well, the steps we initially took, which started almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, is that we started consolidating some programs and departments. We started reducing our staff through attrition as much as possible. And so, you know, every time we do that, particularly in those areas with salaries and wages and health benefits and things, that does it. That will reduce the overall county budget. So we are overall down about 160 positions through attrition, not necessarily did everybody lose their job because we transferred them to other departments and moved them around. So overall, the issue was we tried to protect as many people as possible, but we're still down 160 plus positions overall in the county because of the initiative we took 2 or 3 years ago, which many other counties are now suffering with.
Well, I was just going to say that, Director, you know, the county's been able to maintain its budget, keep the tax rate increases to a minimum without furloughs and layoffs and loss of jobs, but doing it through the mechanisms that you said, when other local, county, and state governments have not been able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can tell you, I'll sit here today, and I really am very thankful for the decisions that were made 2 or 3 years ago. And I want everybody to know they were not easy decisions. They were controversial, even with the members of the Board of Freeholders, to finally reach a decision where we knew those things were necessary. But I can tell you that I'm glad we did those things now.
Because it preserves services and protected.
And the approach that we took was pretty unique in that we formed these individual task forces. And what we did is our approach was that we wanted to do these things in a constructive and not a destructive way. You know, because again, if when we put everything in place and every move that we made, we did it with the idea that we're going to displace and do it where it has the least harmful effect on any of the employees that are out there. Because again, we were really, you know, again, trying to do everything and looking at things holistically, and we've been very successful at knocking the number of employees down without adversely affecting hardly any counties. Almost every county employee that was adversely affected, and I don't even want to say adversely affected, that was affected actually had options as a result of the actions that were being put forth and actually instituted.
And maintaining a level of service in those programs, that was key. That was key, maintaining a level of service to those people out there that we're trying to serve, try to protect those that are at risk. That was extremely important. That was all part of the consideration during that process.
We only have a few minutes left. Some fast facts we'll get out. How much surplus is being used?
Same amount as last year. We're right around close to between about 11,900,000 to balance the budget. Again, we're trying to be very conservative in that area. Okay, because again, we know that we don't know how much longer the economy and the real estate market's going to stay on the, you know, on that level bottom where it is, and before it starts taking off.
No program cuts called for in the 2012 budget?
Not at all. We're going to be able to maintain the same level of service. And
what is the proposed 2012 county budget?
This year it'll come in around $139 million, okay, as opposed to last year it was 142. So the budget will actually be down overall, but that is a result of us doing some accounting changes with the health benefits.
So overall, it's a good budget, and I wanted to save just a little bit of time to say that this is the last year that our county treasurer is preparing the budget for the county of Cape May, as he plans to retire on March the 1st. It has been a pleasure working with you and for the taxpayers what you've done for Cape May County.
I have worked with Ed now for more than 30 years, and he's been such a valuable, intricate part of county government, and he's always been there when we needed him. I can tell you he's been an expert in revenue and finance. He has saved the county literally millions and millions of dollars. He's been such a wonderful pleasure to work with. I mean, day in and day out, even during very difficult times when we had to make difficult decisions, I can tell you he's going to be really missed, not only by this freeholder, but he's going to be missed by all the other county employees too.
Well, thank you, Ed, for your service, and thank you for joining us on the Cape May County Report. You can reach the county budget on the website, capemaycountygov.net. Until next time, I'm Lenora Bonafonte. See you on the Cape May County Report.